everyone. Joining me today is the one and only Debbie Merrill. Debbie, also known as Disco Debbie, Debbie the Raw Veggie Vegan Diva, Miss Tit Willow, amongst many other notable names, is an award-winning dancer, international figure skating star, actress, choreographer, lecturer, entertainer extraordinaire, and instructor to the stars. She is the founder of Skate Great USA School of Skating in Santa Monica, California, and has been promoting the benefits of eating raw foods and living a healthy lifestyle for over 30 years. You may recognize her numerous television appearances, from appearing on Jimmy Kimmel to her own public TV show, Raw Foods on the Roll, Getting America Healthy. Debbie also has a book called The Raw Truth to the Fountain of Youth, which highlights her journey and gives tips for living a life of vibrance, fitness, and beauty at any age. In this episode, we dive into Debbie's personal road to success, the struggles she has faced along the way, stories from her days at Studio 54, her relationship with spirituality, and how she continues to redefine herself again and again through having fun and enjoying every moment. This is a great episode, and I'm so excited you guys are here listening. All right, Debbie, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, Tim. It's so wonderfully to see you, my darling.
You look amazing.
Oh, I'm all pretty in pink here.
You are. Why don't you tell everyone at home what you're wearing right now?
Oh, let's get a visual here. So I'm wearing this hot pink, which I just got. I never like to tell where I shop or where I am. You'll have to guess. I'm a complete mystery. So it's this hot pink, and interrupt me if you have better verbs. It's like a rug, and you have to brush them like a little doggy, like those real cozy, comfy coats. And it's long down to right above my knee. And then I have mild pink glitter pants on, and you touch them, and they're all sequins pants with a hot pink sweater that's open right above my cleavage. So one of my best features, besides my face and my mouthpiece. But underneath I wore a light pink off the shoulder holder, and only has one shoulder, and under it is a pink lace bra. I mean, it's a pink bra with black lace, so you can see through it. And then one sleeve is a bell sleeve with all pleats in it. So it looks like this. And it hangs.
Oh, nice. I
it's
love
real
it.
Pretty. So when you sing with your right hand, it's kind of flowing in the air.
When you're dancing
or
in
when
the
I'm
wind.
dancing or singing.
Yeah.
I'm about, for my birthday, which is June 22nd, I'm a Cancer. I'm going to get the fringe dress, with all, like in the back in the Charleston days.
Oh, yeah.
Where all the fringes shake. So I'm always shake.
Oh, that's perfect.
Shake. I'm always shaking it. So that's what I'm wearing, my darling.
Always shaking it. Well, we have so much to cover, and I'm so excited.
My panties are pink.
Panties, down to the panties, so you know it's real.
Right.
Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay.
So tell me about Debbie and Yonkers and your childhood, if you want to start there.
Like where I lived, what it was like.
Yeah. What was it like growing up, and where did Debbie find herself?
She didn't. That's why she left. Where there's clean air, there's nothing happening. I knew that from day one. I did not want to be like my mother. She was overweight in front of a stove, cooking all day and cleaning, and my dad would go to work. And I was ice skating. So I thought that if I took up a sport, I could get out of the house, because they were always fighting. I love my parents to death. They gave me everything they could, not monetarily, just lots of love and support. However, they fought, and that bothered me. So I always wanted to get out, to play spin the bottle in the parking lot, go get those little bottles of alcohol they give you on the plane. They used to anyway. I'm dating myself. And drink them before school. Or I was sort of a trouble rouser. Or go to the ice rink on Friday nights and drink underneath the bleachers, and then, go around to all the liquor stores and go downtown New York City. Wow, that was a big thing. Get on a subway and panhandle. We used to just see how much money we could make and tell people we were poor and all these crazy things. But nothing was really dangerous back in those days. We didn't carry knives and guns. I didn't smoke pot. I didn't like pot at all. It made me quiet and sedentary. Mm-hmm. And I like to be up and going and out.
Yeah.
So it was hard growing up, but ice skating was my savior. When I got angry at my parents, I would make big holes in the ice with my heels. And the hockey players would hand me a bucket at the end of the session and go, "Here, Deb, fill the holes, please." And I was so angry at them because they used to scratch up the ice. and we made holes, so we both did each other damage. We both didn't get along real well. And then I started improving in my ice skating, and I started taking lessons from Barbara Taplin, she taught Dorothy Hamill.
Oh, wow.
She was an Olympic teacher. So I studied with her, and I remember once falling on my head. And that was the only time I ever fell on my head. And I didn't want to skate again, ever. But I did not get a concussion. I got off the ice, and I said, I know I have to get back out there and do it again. I just intuitively knew. Nobody said, go do it again. You can't just walk away from anything when you fall bad. So I got back on the ice, and I kept myself going for another 10 or 20 years. I competed in figure skating. I did ice shows. I taught. And way up into my, almost 50s, I was still dealing with skating. But my mother was always cooking, and she was always feeding me love with food. I didn't like that. And whenever I needed something, she'd say, "Here, let's have a hot fudge sundae," or "You want to go out to Carvel and get a sundae?" Everything was about food. Love did not come through food, but my mom thought it did, or that was the only way she thought. She knew, because she was Italian, and so was my dad, and they grew up with love being food,
right.
Food being love. And so intuitively, once again, I knew that. I don't know how I knew that, but I knew that it wasn't right, that I was not supposed to ruin my body, that I had a beautiful body as a young girl, I must say. My mom was always admiring my waist, because she didn't have one, and my legs that never touched. There was always space in the middle, all these young girls dieting for Suzanne Summers, the ball.
The leg gap.
Space in the leg gap, thank you, Tim. And I always had a leg gap, and I had breasts at a very young age. Like 12, I was wearing a bra, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm sure my figure skating instructor was a man. He once had a crush on me. And I was like, what is going on here? I want to learn to skate. I'm not into making love here. I've never made love. I don't know what it is, except spin the bottle. My childhood was like that, but I was not quite in my teens, maybe 16 at that time, when my ice skating coach came on to me. And
I remember reading in your book, too, as you were getting older, you wanted to still remain looking, younger
beautiful and young
beautiful,
and fit.
Just to be able to compete with the people who were younger at that time, too.
Oh, absolutely. My life is so full of everything. I can't remember things, so thank you. I wanted to stay young because to fit in this category, you had to be like from the ages 12 to 15, and I might have been 16. I was too old always to get in my category. So I had to lie about my age, and I had to stay young. I always wore flat bras and things like that. And I would get in the category, but I wouldn't do well because I had a bad teacher. One of my teachers taught me to skate to the right and jump to the left. And you're supposed to spin and jump the same way. No. So everything for me was like impossible. Learning an axel took 5 years, where it should take 5 minutes, 5 days. Learning a double axel took another 5 years. So by the time I got up to the level of these young kids, I was almost 19, but I still couldn't do the doubles and triples. And I resented that teacher for so long. And then Gus Lucy, he taught Dorothy Hamill, Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton. I think he worked with Peggy Fleming. He worked with every Olympian to get them to do triples and spin fast. There was a guy named Tommy Litz who could spin faster than a fan.
Wow.
And so I trained with Gus. He took a liking to me, and he came to me and didn't even charge me and would help me. And it wasn't about sexual at all, my body or nothing. He just wanted to teach me.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out I was taught the wrong way. And I didn't want to go backwards at the time, so I turned professional.
And tell me a little bit more about the competitive ice skating and kind of where that went.
It was brutal. Like I said, I needed to pass my 8th test to get into the senior women's division. And I took it once. Normally you fail it once or twice. I took it once, and I failed by 1/10 of a point.
Wow.
The New Jersey judge failed me. And I'm from New York. And my father even went to, check her out and find out statistics on her. And boy, did we cuss that woman down for months. And all of my coaches and my dad and my mom said, go back, Debbie, just try it again. Everybody does. Dorothy Hamill even took it twice. Nope, I'm done. Forget it. You know, that's the kind of person I was. It's like, you don't want me? Goodbye. I'm gone. I'm not doing it again. It hurt my ego so much, and it hurt my feelings so much that I felt that I became a failure. They didn't fail Debbie on the ice. They failed Debbie. I was rejected. I'm not good enough. I'm an outcast. It's never going to happen for me. I don't count. I'm invisible. And I took that with me to college. And that's when I got into drugs and alcohol. I saw the distinction so completely. If I would have went back to skating, I probably never would have picked up drugs and alcohol.
And then what transpired from there?
Ay. Fill in the blanks. Miami, fill in the blanks. The party town. Let's get down. I happened to meet all the right people. I'm not talking about the geniuses getting, scholarships in college. We're talking, I went to college for like 3 months. I studied swimming, marketing, and science and trigonometry and all the good things. And I used to have to cheat my way in math because I was terrible in math. When I was young, my parents got me a tutor. And they said, if you pass math, we'll buy you a car. They bought me this used Ford car. But that Ford car, convertible, we drove to Miami, where I lived. My mother had to go with me in the car. And we took the auto train, was it? We put it on the auto train. But anyway, back to the competition. So by failing as the figure skating and failing in competition, I would always come last, second to last. I'm telling you the truth, okay, because I don't want to lie. My palms would sweat. My feet would shake anytime I was under pressure. I could do it great in practice, but I couldn't land it under pressure. I was scared that once again, I was going to be judged and rejected. So I didn't want to fail, so that pressure, I couldn't function. I couldn't perform well.
So when you were in Miami and you had all of these temptations and you kind of saw a different side of yourself, what happened after that?
There was no resistance. I just picked up. And I thought, party. Is there anything that can take me out of what I'm feeling? Let's do it. Cigarettes, gum, sugar, Quaaludes, cocaine, alcohol. I did everything. And when I wasn't doing one thing, I was doing the other. Like if I wasn't drinking, then I would probably take diet pills. If I wasn't taking diet pills, I'd probably be eating. If I wasn't eating, then I was drugging. If I wasn't drugging, then I was drinking. Anything to squash the feelings of, I left home, I left my parents, shame on me, I'm a black sheep, I should be ashamed of myself. All of my Italian aunts and uncles are all cursing me out. Look at her, who does she think she is? She's a fabulous figure skater. Her mother's always bragging about her. My aunts and did not get along with my mom because my mother had a beautiful daughter who was talented, and so they would always put my mom down. So I felt bad for my mom, and so I left, and I'd had all that guilt as well. Shame, guilt, remorse caused me to become this party girl.
And then where was the turnaround? What was the factor
Well,
that
I had
made
to
you...
finish first. I wasn't done yet, Tim. I mean, we partied in Miami for like 7 years. Then I went back to Manhattan, and there was a big disco scene there. All the nightclubs and the discos. No one went home at night. 6 a.m. we went to an after-hours place. Not a party, but a bar, because all the bars were open till 6. Then we'd go out to eat because we were still messed up, effed up. And then we'd get home around 9 or 10 in the morning, try to sleep, take some sleeping pills, but they weren't used for sleep in our days. We called them Quaaludes. Make love, the sex drug.
I heard they were called thigh openers.
Thigh openers? Okay. That's what you guys call them in the 80s, but we call them Quaaludes, the sex drug. But they were thigh openers. Both ways, honey. Thigh openers, butt openers, whatever. And wow!
So what was Studio 54 like?
So I left Miami, went to New York, met my skating partner George. We did several ice shows in New York. We did the Manhattan Savings Bank. We did Rockefeller Center opening. I taught skating at all these places. We did Woolman Ice Rink with Mayor Koch, Donald Trump. We cut the ribbon and opened the rink, and I taught Donald Trump's kids there. And should I name some of the celebrities I've taught? And then I'll go back to Studio 54.
Yeah, for sure.
I taught Steve Martin how to skate for LA Story. I taught Rosie Perez for White Man Can't Jump. And now I heard they have a new White Man Can't Jump.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see, A, if I'm in the credits, or B, what it's about. They probably did the whole remix.
They should have asked you to be in the second.
They should have invited me to the opening as well.
Yeah.
Pretty teed about that. What's the coincidence is my physical therapist went to the opening.
Oh, wow.
And I asked her, can I come? And she couldn't get me a ticket, but she said, forget it, Debbie, it was nothing. So, but I'm still anxious to see who was in whose role.
Yeah.
And I also taught Downtown Julie Brown, the late John Ritter, Gina Davis. I taught the handicap and the blind and the, what do you call them, that autistic children.
Mm-hmm.
They would come to the beach once a week and I would teach them. Gave me a lot of I felt so full and complete and whole when I was of service to other people, especially the blind. I had a blind cousin.
Yeah.
So,
and with Studio 54,
everybody wants to know.
The burning
I'm not
questions.
telling everything.
You have a lot of secrets, maybe.
I have so many secrets, but I'm not a kiss and tell girl. When I went there, it was line around the block. I went with George, my skating partner. He was 6'4". Imagine this. I'm 5'1". He was dressed to the nines, which meant a tight tank top. You know, like a guinea tee, we called them. Tight jeans where, the package was showing. Big, bright, and bold. The ass for days, abs for days, and washboard stomach, which the t-shirt came off in 10 minutes. And I always had to be dressed to the nines. Glitter, sequins, and rhinestones, or they wouldn't go with me, George. He'd say, you can't wear those frumpy things. So I became, in the book it talks about me becoming a hippie to a disco queen. I used to wear overalls and baggy jeans, and my mother would get on my case, because my mother always dressed up to go to the supermarket. Her hair would be like Dolly Parton, and she'd be in sequins, glitter, and rhinestones down to the shoes. And we always had nice shoes, because my father was a shoe salesman. I'm not trying to get away from Studio 54. I'll be right back. And they named a shoe after me. I was named after a shoe, the Debbie shoe, because that was the shoe at the time my mom was pregnant. And so we always had nice shoes, and I used to get beat up in school by girls. They'd pull my hair out because I always had nice shoes on. So anyway, that's what I dressed up like when I went to Studio 54, to the nines.
So is that where you kind of found a lot of your eccentric wardrobe and the glitter and
exactly.
A lot of the style from?
When going into 54, we would call it Studio or 54. You going to 54 tonight? Yeah. I would go in the door. Wait, let me go back around the block. So we're waiting all the way around the block, and then George comes. He goes, come on. We go all the way up front. Mark Benecki used to be the doorman, and now they have a Sirius radio. It's called 54. It's the only radio I listen to. And Mark and Myra show. Mark was the doorman. Myra was the accountant for Steve Rubel back in the day. And so Mark would let us in. He'd go, everybody part the golden ways. Thousands of people would be shouting and screaming, taking our pictures, thinking we were celebrities. Well, I think we were, because we got in. And they part the door and we'd walk in. It was dead silence. Red carpet, red walls, everything was dark. You'd walk about, I don't know, I'm not good with measurements, but maybe 10 feet. And then suddenly the red curtains would open, and you'd hear this booming music, and the place was pounding where you felt like there was an earthquake under your feet. Everything was rattling, and it was a big, huge cage, and there was upstairs and downstairs and downstairs, and there was a huge platform where the DJ played, which was Steve Rubel, playing everything from Donna Summer to Gloria Gaynor to the Madonna, Gloria Estefan, Kool and the Gang, Casey and the Sunshine Band, every kind of 70s music, the Bee Gees. And then the bartenders were all in short skirts. They were guys only, with no shirts. And all you saw crossing the bar was martinis and champagne and Jose Cuervo and Cavassier. You didn't have Red Bull back in the day, and we didn't have, give me a shot of tequila with lime. That was so to the curb. Everything was extraordinary then. It was like you were living in the Vanderpump home.
Wow. So I can see why you got a lot of your inspiration and love the disco music and the whole scene today.
Well, I stayed there 4 or 5 nights a week. I mean, to go from the ice skating rink to Studio 54, it's like, this is a blast. What was I doing for 10 years, figure eights in silence at 6 a.m. in the morning? Hey, this is a better life. Give it to me. I want it now.
And to add to that, you were also on Broadway.
Yes, I did a show on Broadway, The Marriage of Figaro, with Christopher Reeve. I had to audition in a driveway in Manhattan on 54th Street and, 8th Avenue for Andre Saban. He was the director. So I came on skates. He said, show me what you do. And I just go around and do some jumps and a couple of spins. He goes, okay, I see you tomorrow. Called my agent and I got the part. But George got me the agent. George did everything for me. George was like a brother to me, and I'm an only child. George got me that apartment in Manhattan, 41st and 2nd, Tudor City, for $300 a month.
Wow.
So I left my parents' home. I went there. They had the key. They would come in. I'd say, only if you knock. And that's how overprotective my mom and dad were, especially my mom. But seeing studio, there was Andy Warhol, and I saw Mick Jagger. He was my favorite. I used to imitate him with a lampshade. I'd take the lampshade and I go, what was the name of the song? By the Hells Angels, when they did, I haven't eaten yet, so my brain's not on. Altamont, where there were shots, people were killed at Altamont Speedway when the Stones did their concert. So I loved Mick Jagger so much, I used to imitate him, do the bird walk, and with his hands open and his tongue out and go, and I would sing, oh God, what was the song I would sing? I've been walking Central Park, I've been staying after dark, people think I'm crazy. That one,
Woo!
Whoa, sing it, Tim. Whoa.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here, huh?
Yeah. I would love that song. Ooh, baby, why you late so long? And, baby, why you wait so long? Ow! I would sing that song. And who else did I see? The Princess of Something, John Travolta, every rock star, every TV, anybody that had a sitcom or a movie.
So you were really
Robert
like living
De Niro,
the life
Al
doing
Pacino,
this.
Robert Redford. I mean, come on, models galore. Mostly models, gay, straight, mostly gay on Mondays because that was hairdresser day, and they were all off. So Sunday night was the best night to go. That's when George and I would gather up and go to 54. I would wear mink sometimes and fur hats because back in the day they weren't throwing ink on you and cutting you up for wearing fur. The more fur you wore, the furrier you were.
So after this wild life that you were living, what came next? How did it transition?
Let's see if I can remember.
Because I know you took a trip.
I took a trip in my head where there were blind spots, where I did not know what happened. I don't remember.
Maybe one of those trips too, but
let's see.
You had the trip
Did I go
to Brazil.
Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we went to Saudi Arabia. Oh my God, what a change of life. We had a tour guide that took us around town, and I couldn't wear short sleeves or they would throw oil on me. And women were looked as casuals. They just run in the back in dark sweaters and cover their face with dark clothes and make babies with sheets over them. They were casuals, they non-existent. And here I am coming on these little tutus, ice skating and doing slots.
They didn't know what they were
They didn't know what they were in for, so we had to stay in the compound a lot. And when we went out, we had to be fully clothed. And I had a sheik that came after me, and he drove a Mercedes with all bells in the back, hanging. You remember those? And he takes out of his pocket a wad this big, like it was a brick, rolled of $100 bills. Wow. And said, please, marry me, stay here, me. I give you everything you need. So my choreographer says, no, she has to come back with us. And he protected me. Bobby Denard, who passed right now, he choreographed all of the Olympians, their programs. So anyway, we had a goat grab where we ate goat with our fingers. And you grab the meat, and then in the middle of your palm is the rice, and you flick it in your mouth with your thumb. You have the rice and some meat. And that's how you eat. And we sat on a Persian rug and ate dinner. So the cultural shock was unbelievable.
So
And
when you go back at this point, because you leave there, and then after that, you go back to New York, and what made you clean up your act?
Right. So we left Saudi. We were there for about a month performing on ice. No, on plastic. We put plastic down. And we're skating in 120-degree weather on plastic, ice skating. Figure that concept. It's crazy. So I would go out every night and perform. I was a magician's assistant. I got cut in half. I got levitated. I've been done and dealt and socked and pushed and you name it. It's been done. So after we get back to New York, and I don't know what caused me to clean up my act, but I always wanted to keep my skating, my figure eight figure. And George was into health, so I always followed what he ate. But he was 6'4" and 180 pounds, so he could eat a lot more than me. And he would always make this pasta. Oh, it was my favorite, with cream sauce, linguine with cream sauce. And I would eat it, and I found myself having an eating disorder. I would eat the whole thing, and when he came home, he goes, "Where's my pasta?" And I couldn't explain it. Like, if I did that at home, I'd always go out and buy some to the level of where I ate it, so my parents wouldn't find out how much ice cream I ate. But I couldn't make linguine with clam sauce or whatever it was that I ate, so I had to tell George. And then I would throw up to get rid of it, and I felt like this is going to kill me. And I'm living in Manhattan now, doing this, spending my hard-earned waitress money on food, $70 on food, going from each Smiler's to the next Korean fruit stand and telling them, "Oh, I'm having a party tonight." You know, because they'd always ask me, why are you buying all this food? You can't eat all this. So I was so embarrassed, and I would just tell them I'm having a party. I would eat it, throw it in the garbage, put soap on it. The next morning, try to clean it out, eat it again, and throw up. And I thought, this is crazy. Yeah. So he gets me this studio apartment in Manhattan, and I find that downstairs in this church, where all the recovery meetings are in church basements, where we live. With all this money, we're living in church basements going, hi, Debbie, I'm a recovering so-and-so. So I went there, and it was a program that helped me clean up my food act. And then I went to another one that helped me clean up my drinking act. And that's when I got, they call it sober. I didn't even know what that word meant. I thought the word meant a dog. Hey, sober, come here, Petey. You know, so I got sober, and they said you can't even take pills, which meant, like you can't take Valium or Quaaludes or anything. So I thought, okay, so I gave up the alcohol. I gave up the white flour and the sugar. Now I got to give up the pills. So I gave up the pills. And then I said, why am I using dairy and smoking? And that eventually I gave up smoking, and I gave up eating dairy, and on. Every year I would give up something.
And what did you notice in your life was changing? Is that when you moved to California?
My thinking. I got really clear, and I thought, what am I doing here? Like when I would go to my accountant, I thought my profession was waitress. I didn't want to be a waitress. I wanted to be a movie star, which was far from waitressing. But there was always waitressing on my tax return. So I had some money that I got from a car accident in Miami, which I didn't talk about those days. They were blank. I gave some drunk friend of mine. I was wasted, and I gave a friend of mine who was more wasted the keys to my car to drive me home. And he crashed right into the back of a car on the Palmetto Expressway, which is a freeway here in LA. And I got some money for that. My knee was broken. My nose was broken. I had some neck problems. And today I still have problems in those areas. Not with my nose, though. I don't snort anymore, but I had problems with deviated septum. So I got some money from that, and I said, I want to move to California. So I went to another self-help program, which talked about money. And they said, okay, we're going to take this much money. How do we get you from New York to California with this much money? And they came up with a plan of action and a spending plan. I already had a food plan. I had an alcohol plan. Cigarettes was nothing. You don't have one. It's not, you abstain totally. Pills, you abstain totally. Alcohol, abstain totally. So I had the food and the money plan, and I moved to California.
So what happened here? Is this where your dreams started to come true?
Well, no. I wanted to be a movie star. And having a skating school and being a star skating instructor was not even in the vision. It was
How
nothing.
did that happen?
Well, it happened because I had to find a way to earn to support taking acting classes and doing photos and resumes, which was all a business. You had to pay for everything, even going to show yourself to an agent. You'd have to pay an agent fee for all those agent classes. So I got a waitress job. I'll never forget this job. It was at the Red Onion. And on Labor Day, I said, how am I going to stay abstinent on Labor Day? It's a party. I need to eat. I need to have a scone, or I need to have some bread. And they said, if you can do it today, you can do it any day. And you already have 30 days, so why blow it? So I didn't binge on Labor Day. I didn't drink alcohol. And I got sober and I got abstinent. And that's when I said, okay, we're going to start teaching skating from a flyer, a black and white flyer that I handed out at the beach. And I got, my first customer was someone in that self-help class. She paid me $40 to teach her to skate. And that $40 today went from 40 to 50 to 60 to 100. And I was making good money teaching skating. And when they had to go on, what did we call it? We did we did classes at the beach and classes at your home were more. Or if I did classes on the set, they were more. So I started getting celebrities, and I almost made $100,000 a year.
And through this, you created your own school.
I created Skate Great USA School of Skating, where we taught beginners, advanced beginners, and I had another style of skating that I called figure blading. It was figure skating on wheels, and therefore I would teach skate dancing, slalom skating, like skate to ski. I taught that, and then rollerblade came in with their truck. You know, I was the first and the only and the longest running skating school in Southern California. Wow. Then everyone came in to copy me. There were teachers coming from everywhere, teaching in that parking lot, where I had to get the city to take a stand for me and say, you can't teach here unless you have a license and a certification to teach. And I got 2 certifications. But by then I could be a certified teacher. I just didn't want to be a certification teacher. I wanted to teach the public.
And at this point, you also had TV programs and then
yes.
Your book.
I taught skating, and then I thought, there was, what do you call it, cable? Where they had these cable shows where people doing the most hilarious things, the most extraordinary things. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go on there, and I was good at choreography, putting things together as choreographing. So I said, I'm going to take my skating with my eating and my veganism, and I'm going to do a show. So I would have a skating show called Raw on the Roll, because I was on skates, teaching people how to eat and how to get fit. And then I would have a celebrity instructor on and a celebrity raw fooder on. I had David Wolf on. I had, I had Patricia Braggs. You have to go and watch my shows. They're on my YouTube channel, which is Debbie Merrill. And I had, he wrote the foreword to my book. I forgot his name. Oh, God. Gabriel Cousins. Gabriel Cousins on, and I had a lot of Don Kitson. He got me into raw foods. He was the godfather of raw foods. He died at, I think, 86. But he got me into being a vegan because I was eating fish and calling myself a vegan. He says, Debbie, you can't eat fish. You have to let go of anything that flies, swims, trots, or walks.
So tell me a little bit about your book. It's called Raw Truth to the Fountain of Youth.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I called, when I was little, I always wanted to live forever. I wanted to live the fountain of youth. I wanted to stay young forever without Botox and Juvederm. I just wanted to stay young forever through nature, through a natural way with God. So I got very spiritual then. I got into raw foods, which keeps you very raw in your emotions. So therefore I'm raw in my food, raw in my emotions. I could walk into a room and notice when the energy was negative on me, and I would know, only go where the love is. So I got into raw foods, and I got this TV show called Raw on the Roll, and I bicycled it into 52 cities: Michigan, Ohio, New Jersey, New York, California, Mexico, and I would take my shows, a video, around to all the cable access channels And I would say, here, play this one, play this series, like Madonna did when she would go around to Jelly Bean and she'd hand out all her CDs to all the nightclubs and the discos. It's how she got famous. You know, he got her famous. So I figured, well, I can get famous by doing these TV shows. So I did the shows. They worked out well. Then I got a sponsor. I won't tell today. His name was Terry, and God bless his soul. He helped me. And we said, let's write a book. Let's write a book about all your journey from overall Debbie to sequins, glitter, and rhinestones to drug addicted in Miami to sober vegan, veggie vegan diva. Like I said, I was the first one to do raw crackers. I would make them myself in a dehydrator. 5 years later, Whole Foods is selling them. They're selling them online. Quinoa crackers, flaxseed crackers, all these kind of crackers.
All these variations, because even in your book, you have a huge amount of recipes.
I have, 42 recipes in my book.
And substitution. So for anyone listening who wants to kind of take
how to get off of bread,
of their health, or they want to take that next step in their health journey, maybe they are going through hard times like you did, what would you suggest is to take that first step, whether it's veganism, vegetarianism?
Like Woody Harrelson told me, he said, first get them to quit smoking and drinking. That's the first step. Because if they're going to smoke and drink and do vegetarianism, lacto-vegetarianism, raw vegan, gluten-free, just beef-free, I say. Forget gluten-free. Anyway, it's to quit smoking and drinking, because that's a killer. And then once you get them there, then I'd say get them off dairy. Dairy's 10 pounds right there, because people love yogurt and cheese and milk and ice cream and all that. Just puts pounds on you. But eating everything in moderation, like my grandmother told me, and like Woody Harrelson taught me, eating less and living more, saying less but speaking more. I'm getting my low blood sugar now, so my words aren't coming out real well.
And along with that, too...
That's what came about to write the book, is how to get people to go from a junk food to a healthier lifestyle. Not just vegan. I want you to know my book's not about being a vegan or vegetarian. It's just about going from one level of health to the next.
And one of the things that I like most about your book, of course, it's about veganism, vegetarianism, smart, healthy eating options, but there's a huge part of it that is tied to mindfulness,
right,
and ways that you can incorporate that. So
exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that and why that's important to you.
Okay. So I'm writing this book thinking it's for people that want to change from junk food eating, junk in the trunk, to raw in the draw, but it's not. Then I get into spirituality. Then I get into thinking that I'm not into my feelings and finding a higher power or becoming higher powered. I'm not going to move to the next level. And then I realized that God, spelled backwards, which Jimmy Kimmel made a joke of, he said it's dog. When I was on his show, he goes, here's Debbie Merrill, and she believes in God, which is really dog spelled backwards. Ha, ha, ha. And then I mailed that tape to him, and I wound up getting on the show, and as well as David Letterman, I mailed the tape to. That's just a sidebar. Anyway, so I do affirmations every day, and one of my favorite affirmations in the book was, I am enough, I have enough, I do enough, there is enough. And money comes to me effortlessly, easily, and safely. Whether I'm working, playing, or sleeping, I am a money magnet. I am forever young, eternal, and powerful. And I talk to the moon and I say, I am you and you are me. Fill me with eternity. Because I want to live forever. I do. I love life. I have a lust for life. I don't want to die. So that's why I came up with the title, The Fountain of Youth, because it means you live forever in the Garden of Eden, in the Garden of Vegan.
Another point that I wanted to make is that you said in your book, when it comes to affirmations, that you want to make sure that you're saying it in the present tense, that it's positive, it's spoken aloud, written down. There's so many ways to express it if you want to talk about that a little bit. Yes,
I do it mostly. I go outside or I go to the ocean, or anytime I look up at the sky, like right now, I open my arms, I put my head up, and I look at the moon, even if there's not a moon, and then I bring it into me, like the ocean coming in. I am you and you are me. Fill me with eternity. I live a long, healthy life. My body is a strong healing mechanism. It knows how to heal. I love my breast. I love my stomach. I love my legs. My back is getting better and better every day in every way. I attract loving, conscious, committed people into my world. I am a good person. I attract only kind, loving people into my life. I do everything effortlessly and easily. I love you, Debbie. I kiss my shoulders, and every time I start the car, I look in the mirror and I say, I love you. Mwah. I know you're tired, but we're going to take it easy today. God, please don't let me lose anything, hurt anybody, or hurt myself, or do hurtful things to anybody today. Before I leave, before the car even pulls out of the parking lot.
That's beautiful. I love it. And it comes so naturally to you, the way that you have a way
It's like
with
I'm
words.
supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I just wake up and feel like I'm supposed to do that. I'm like a camel. I get on my knees in the morning and at night, and I drink only water in the desert. Then once I get motivated, I'll go out singing. When I sing, even if I sound terrible, like I sing for love, I sing for me, I sing for a bird who was just set free. And the beginning is, I don't care if I sing off key, I sing for love and I sing for me, I sing for life, I sing for to be free, I sing like a bird who was just set free. You know, I just go out and I don't give a darn what people think about me anymore. I just do me.
And
what
that's
makes
Disco
me feel
Debbie.
good.
That's what I love you
Disco
for.
Debbie
so,
is.
There's so many different aspects of you.
And I don't even know that people see that in me. I don't know what they see. Like, I had a choreographer once, he says, she doesn't even know how sexy she is. She's just a machine. Sex for her, being sexy for her is being a machine. Like, my body is a machine. It's not a sex object. That's how I see it. And he saw that in me. I don't see that in me. Like, when men flirt at me, it goes right over my head. Oh, well, next. No means next opportunity.
You're the karaoke queen.
Well, I sent my tape to I Instagrammed Katy Perry when I sang California Girls, and she hashtagged me California Singing Sensation. So now that's what I call myself. I'm not Mariah Carey, you know, but I like to sing and I entertain. They called me the entertainer, extraordinaire. I like that. I'm going to adopt that.
And when it comes back more from mindfulness, if you want to talk a little bit about mindfulness as food, so intentional eating.
Yes.
You say in your book about eating with your eyes first.
Okay. Thank you for catching that. You enjoyed my book, I can tell.
I did.
Yeah, and you like page 300.
Which
I
we're going to get
reread
into in a little bit.
Okay. I just want to finish one more thing about the self-care. I bought a biomat. Somebody in the raw vegan field told me about a biomat. And it's a mat that heals from within. It heats up. You lay on it, and it heats up so high that whatever dysfunction or disorder or disease you have, it helps to annihilate it. Like, it works on osteoporosis or what I say a lot. I hate that. Or carpal tunnel. There's the other ones that a lot of people have nowadays. Or insomnia, constipation, Alzheimer's. Ooh, baby. Anyway, so we'll stick with those. It helps. So after I take my hot bath, I lay on that for about 20 minutes. Sometimes I fall asleep on it. And then I go into bed, and I feel like it rejuvenates my whole body. That when I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling rejuvenated. And I've been lately putting holy water on my body. I get from the church.
Like a ritual.
It's a ritual I do every morning before I go to the phone. I pray, I go to the mirror, I put the holy water on, and then I go to my phone. I don't go to my phone before that.
And what about writing? What does writing mean to you?
Oh, my 5 keys to success. I have to answer Tim's question first. Writing to me is writing things right. When you write, your hand is closest to the heart, so you're writing things right. I hate that lady. She was a son of a gun. She did this to me. Da-da-da-da-da. She can go to... You say everything you want to in the writing. And then you look at... My part is, I want to be right. I want to be the first one. I don't want her to say that to me. Who does she think she is? Doesn't she know who I am? Ego, pride. You know, I write out my faults so I can see my part, so I can learn from the next experience I have that I don't want to lash out and call somebody a biatch. Okay? I don't want that to come out of my mouth, because the words you speak have the power to affect other people. So I'm Debbie. I don't want to walk into the post office and call that lady a biatch, and then she says, aren't you that lady that teaches skating at the beach? Oh my God. Okay. So my 5 keys to success are food, fitness, a spiritual belief, nature, and surrounding yourself with loving, conscious, committed people.
That's perfect.
And you asked me the question, what?
Yeah, one last thing I want you to touch on is talking about, in your book you describe your dream journal, a dream map, and manifesting. If you could talk a little bit about what that is and how someone listening could start that, especially on tonight. Tonight's it's the new moon in Taurus, so it's great for manifesting.
Wow, thank you. I don't really follow that too well. All I know is that I'm a Cancer, but I'm born on the cusp of Gemini Cancer. I was born at 1 a.m.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm fickled. So I don't know whether to eat an apple or a banana, so I eat them both.
There you go.
But anyway, so...
What is your dream journal, your dream map?
I call them treasure maps, and you cut out of magazines all things that you want. Like I saw in a magazine, this girl had these perfect legs, so I posted that. And then I saw these condominiums in Miami right on the water. I put that down. And I saw these couple making love on a mat out by the ocean in Tahiti. I put that there. Then I saw a picture of Uncle Sam in red, white, and blue, and that was the theme of my skate school, was all in red, white, and blue, America. Put that on there. Then I saw Marianne Williamson, who was you asked me about who were the leaders in my life. I put her up there. Then I put Oprah Winfrey up there, and then there was a piece of salmon. One day I wanted to eat salmon, and it was this beautiful piece of pink salmon. I put that up there. Even being a vegan, I somehow just wanted a piece of salmon. And then I had many things.
So your treasure map is like this art
These
project.
are things that you want to happen in your life, that you want to manifest. And I also put my bedspread, and this is one that came true. I have the same bedspread.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I'll show you one day. And I go to Marianne Williamson lectures. I did the whole Course in Miracles. I ate a piece of salmon. I listened to Oprah Winfrey. I went to Tahiti, and I had a lover there who was French, and we made love on the sheets in the beach. And a lot of the things I posted came true. But then I was taught in my self-help group, you have to make a distinction. You have to have a money map. You have to have a love map. You have to have a map for the perfect home, a map for the perfect clothes you want, a map for the perfect body.
And
so I have 10 of them now.
With what I've heard too is just being as super specific with what you want.
Yes,
so if
exactly.
you're specific to money, if you're specific to love,
right,
really
you
hone
make a
in on
different
it
map.
with the details, and then you can create it. You can manifest it.
I haven't done them in a while, but I still have all of my old ones sitting there, and I put them in places in my apartment where I'm stuck looking at them. Like even if I'm in a bad mood one day and I'm tired, I'm like, I feel tofu today, tired, old, fat, and ugly. My girlfriend and I had a code. I'm tofu today. I'm not going out. And I would put them like where I have to eat. I have to look at these affirmations. And I also have a map of people that have passed that have brought a lot of...
Like an altar almost.
An altar, my spiritual altar.
That's beautiful.
I have an altar next to my bed where I pray, and I have my higher powers picture on top of the wall above me where I look at when I go in there, and I say, God, why can't I walk? Why do you have to let me look at all these people that are walking? When am I going to get rid of this walker? You gave me so much love, and you gave me so much talent, and what am I doing with it? Nothing. I don't have a purpose. How could you do this to me? And I would scream and yell at God and throw things at him and have anger
And look
fits.
at you now, you're walking.
I'm walking, yeah, but if I ask me to walk 10 blocks, I can't by myself. But I will.
You
because
will.
I have the determination.
And
they call me unstoppable.
Unstoppable Debbie. And going along that, I want to talk a little bit about your spiritual connection to your higher self through nature. I want to read my favorite part of your book. So this is chapter 34. I'm just going to read a paragraph.
Go ahead.
I used to say that the ocean was my god. I said my prayers to the sea, and when I was angry or scared, I'd rage and scream at the top of my lungs while taking a prayer walk, during my skating meditation, or while I swam in the ocean. I'd go underwater and scream at the top of my voice, a high C, and then finish it off with a good cry. I'd rail at the waves, and they'd crash against the shore. I let the sea absorb my sorrows and celebrate my joys. It was my solace and my salvation, and the place I always found peace. Afterwards, I'd feel great. I guess you could say that the ocean is my church, my peace, my spiritual sanctuary. It is the place I feel closest to God, most connected to my higher spirit, and most abundant. I have since discovered that every place is a church, and everyone is my ministry. When I am near the sea, I feel peaceful, grounded, connected to nature, and at one with the universe. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's like a poem.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
It's my favorite part. If you want to just talk about what nature is, what is the beach?
Well, that's why I moved to California, and I moved to the beach. I shared an apartment with someone. I lived right a block from the ocean in Venice because I'm a Cancer. What can I say? I'm a crab. I have to be by the water. So I moved here. I love the water. I would go down there and say my affirmations with my hands open. I would walk on the sand, not jog. I would ride my bike up into the mountains. I would go about 6 o'clock and ride into the sunset. I always wanted to be near the water. So I thought, why don't I start teach people to skate? They'd say, can you come to my house? Can you meet me on my tennis courts? Can we do it in the parking lot? And I said, can you come to the beach? Because it was wide, vast, open, and abundant. And I thought, when I'm down there, I feel that way. I feel that my students can feel comfortable, wide, vast, and abundant. They would let go of their fears and their apprehensions and have more courage to take a step because they were at the beach. And every once in a while, I'd say, look at the ocean, look at the waves. And I said, if those waves can do what they're doing, you can do the next step. You can go forward. And believe me, I taught real beginners. That's when I desired to have a school and call it Skate Great USA and teach people at the beach. So I went to Perry's, we talked, we made a collaboration, and people would come down there, have lunch, rent skates, and take a lesson. And then I worked in conjunction with the city, and I would teach group classes for the city of Santa Monica. And that's how it all started at the beach. I had to be at the beach, I had to work at the beach, and I wanted to make money at the beach. And then I thought, now I need to get from the beach to Hollywood if I want to be a movie star. And I didn't want to leave the beach. So I never went on auditions. That dream to be an actress sort of dissipated because I was in my dream spot, earning a living, doing what I love, serving people. That's what I call being famous.
And you paved your own way. You found success through your happiness.
Yeah. And I called famous as having fun among many out in the universe serving. That's what famous means.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So I switched famous in Hollywood to be famous here. I still have this need and desire to be on the mic and on the screen. I love the camera, and the camera loves me, and I'm not saying that in a conceited way, but I'm photogenic. So I still have this, it's like whenever I go karaoke, I take the mic and I never give it back to the guy. Like I want to announce everything. Yeah. So I love being on camera. Maybe one day again I will be soon. I did a movie with someone, with Chris Vinion. I forgot the title of it. It'll be out soon on Netflix. You can put it in there. That'll be the last thing I've done. Besides, I'm getting calls a lot on Instagram now, so please, yes, I'd love to be of service. Be in your film and your project.
And I'm going to read just a couple quotes also that I pulled from the book that really resonated with me. Mm-hmm. The universe rewards action and movement. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. Right. And ask your higher self the hard questions in the early morning. Okay. Often answers will come by midday or sunset.
So ask me the first one again.
The universe rewards action and movement.
Okay, so don't wait to feel better. Do something to feel better. Don't lay there and say, I can't get out of bed today. So action is the key to success, meaning Einstein's theory of relativity was an object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. So when you're feeling the lowdown, like you don't want to move, that's the time to move. My coach would always say, on your worst day, if you show up and do it, on your best day, you'll be fabulous. And so I took to that training, and I do that in my life. When the alarm goes off and I don't want to get up, I just kind of move your fingers, move your toes, move your arms. Start somewhere. I do exercises in the bed, sit-ups in the bed, and then stretches, the triangle stretch to get me up. And what was the second quote one?
And the second one that I asked, it was, let me see, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Right. So when I want to do something, growing up in my childhood with my dysfunction junction, everybody has a dysfunctional family at some point, I would feel guilty for shining because I'm not that good. I can't shine. And if I shine, my mother won't shine. So I would couch down and let my mother get the attention. And I took that throughout my life, that somehow I'm not good enough to really get a standing ovation. So, what was it again? It related to, I had to ask for permission to be fabulous. Or somebody had to tell me to be fabulous. Or to tell me to go to Saudi Arabia and perform. Don't be afraid, go. I always looked for permission, or a mother. I needed a mother all the time. And so now I started giving myself, by doing the affirmations and getting the self-confidence, which in Latin means confideo, faith in oneself. By getting that confidence in myself, I had the courage to take a risk, courage to make a mistake, courage to get out there, and I didn't fail. I succeeded.
All right, Debbie. Now I'm going to wrap it up with a few rapid-fire questions. Name some of your biggest influences.
Well, the first one is, of course, the Virgin Mary. I wanted to be the Virgin Mary when I was little. You know, forgiveness, always loving and kind, not anything wrong with me, and everybody loves you. Then it went to Anne Margaret and Natalie Wood, because I wanted to be an actress. And Anne Margaret was a singer-dancer. I used to jump up and down on my bed and look in the mirror and sing and dance. My mother would come, "What are you doing in there?" You know, she goes, "You're going to break the mattress." Break the mattress. And then it went to, when I moved to Manhattan, when I moved to Miami, of course, it was Gloria Estefan and probably like Donna Summer. Mm-hmm. And then New York, it was Oprah Winfrey, Marianne Williamson, Madonna. And now I still love Madonna. I love Doja Cat because they're wild and crazy and they break the rules and they're ostentatious. Lady Gaga, I like her for her wardrobe. Yeah. But I feel like she's a wannabe Madonna.
That could be a controversial topic.
Forgive me, folks. I'm sorry. Everybody has an opinion.
Favorite book?
Mine.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Why not? I could say Rosemary's Baby, but that was 100 years ago.
Favorite affirmation? You may have already said it, but
I said it. And the other, of course, the other one I love is, I'll throw in one more. Perfectionism is a hope, dream, and an illusion. And it's hard to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation because comfort is a want, not a need. Say it again. Comfort is a want, not a need. I thought I always had to be comfortable and something meant it was right. No, I could be afraid and still mean it's the right thing to do. So feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a big one of mine.
That's a big one. That's
fear
really
is a motivator. Pain is a motivator. The only way out is through it. And of course, I always end on this when I do my lectures. If you don't believe in miracles, come and be one.
Yay! And the last one. What impact would you like to have on the world?
I'd like to leave with a note, people saying, God, she was always so much fun, and she never gave a darn about what anybody ever thought of her. And she had so much energy. Everyone always asks where I get my energy, and I tell them it comes from my higher power, the way I eat, and the way I exercise, and the way I think. Because I want to have a fit body, a healthy mind, and a happy spirit.
That's beautiful.
And boy, that could be on my tombstone. But also, she's not done yet.
Oh, you got a long way to go.
There's more rolls left on these wheels.
So what do you have coming up, Debbie?
I wish I could tell you I have movies and commercials and all this, but right now I'm planning to do surgery in July on my back. I don't want to do it because of all the negativity around it, but I don't want to live like this. You know, how can you take an athlete like Kobe Bryant and put him on the sidelines and say you can't play anymore, which is what my back injury has done to me. It's like I can't work, I can't teach, I can't exercise, I can't drive far, I can't get on a plane, and I don't want to live like this. This is not me. I personally don't know why I'm here, but I don't believe in suicide, and I think God still has a plan for me, and I think to know is to know I don't know, is to live with being okay that I don't know, and find out what it is.
And just live every moment.
Yeah, every day there's a message and a test to be a better person, a kinder person, more forgiving, more loving to myself and to others, and to have fun every day. I have to have fun.
That's beautiful.
Do something I love.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Oh,
Anything
God,
you'd
probably
like to
so
share?
many. I'll call you tonight and say, we forgot this, we forgot that. I want to say this, I want to say that. Well, we can always add on, right? Less is more, right? And I'm a very big talker. And if I brought my other book with me, we'd be talking a lot more. Do you know, as a kid, I used to wet my pants. I was so afraid. I used to wet the bed till I was almost, 12 or 13. And my mother would hang the sheets out, and all the kids on the block would go, "Oh, Debbie peed in the bed again." I would be so embarrassed. And then also, I would make out with my boyfriend on the grass. I always loved to be outside. I don't even like being in my apartment at night. I leave the door open till like 6 in the morning, which is dangerous. But by the grace of God, nothing's happened. Anyway, so I would go make out with my boyfriend. My mother would go, "Get in the car, go look for her. I know where she is." My father would drive around, and he couldn't find me. And my friends would go, "Debbie, your father's looking for you again." Just so embarrassing. And then my uncle saw me one night, and he goes, "I'm going home to tell your mother." And he did. And that's how I grew up, with like 2 mothers and 2 fathers.
Yeah.
Being afraid to live, afraid to explore as a teenager. And that's why getting out of the house with Bobby Denard and taking me on the road with a bunch of drag queens and gay people. And, I said, "Yes, I'm here." My mother goes, "Take her," because she knew nothing would happen. She goes, "Bobby, watch out for her." And Bobby goes, "Don't worry, Elvira." My mother's name was Elvira. I got teased for that, too. And my father's name was Nano. Nano. And they were shorter than me, and I'm 5'1". And my mother would always wear her hair high, like a cow patty. And my dad would smoke a stogie. Would always be hanging out the side of his mouth. He looked like Abbott in Abbott and Costello. He even got offered to play a part, and he wouldn't do it. And they'd walk down the street with me, and everybody would laugh. And I was so embarrassed. So I just wanted to get away from my parents and get away from that house. That's why I moved. And my biggest joy in the world is I want to travel. I want to go back to Tahiti and lay on the beach and just say my prayers in the ocean. When my dad died, I wrote a letter. When you asked me why writing is so important, I wrote the letter and threw it in the ocean and said my amends to my mother in the sky. The sky was pink in Tahiti when the sun set, and the lightning was crashing one night, and the sky was pink. It was like I was being sent to my new life. And I prayed to my mother, and I asked her to forgive me. And that I did in my second trip to Tahiti. So now my third trip, I want to go back again.
Well, Debbie, thank you so much.
Oh,
I had the best
you're
time
welcome. I
talking to
love you, sexy human being, you.
Can
You sexy mother lover. And ask me my favorite song.
What's your favorite song?
Donna Summer.
Yeah,
On
which
the
one?
radio. On the radio. Whoa, on the radio.
We're going to have to follow up one, like a karaoke version to where you sing
Disco
all these
Debbie
songs.
does
The
karaoke.
Disco Debbie does karaoke version.
It's all over my YouTube. Do you want me to tell them how to find me?
Can you share your socials? How can people find you and follow you and possibly take a skating lesson?
Okay. Well, skating lessons, you can go to skatecrateusa.com, and my lesson instruction plan is all up there. Or you can DM me on Instagram, which is Raw, for Raw Vegan, Skate Debbie. Someone took Disco Debbie. Raw Skate Debbie, all lowercase. And I also have my book Instagram, you can DM me, is Raw Truth Book. Or you can send me an email or a text. Should I give out my phone number? Yes. Just DM me. That's why Instagram is alive, because of that. And I also have OnlyFans. I know you're going to say, OnlyFans? She strips, she gets naked, how dare she? I'm not going to let her teach my kids. No, it's just tastefully done fashion, because I love fashion. I love glitter, sequins, and rhinestones. How can I wear them in a sexy way that my mother and father would look at?
That's right.
That's what's on Instagram.
Perfect.
And that Jesus would not offend me for.
Well, thank you so much,
Wait, don't
Debbie.
I have one more?
What's the
Oh,
last?
TikTok.
Oh, your TikTok,
I have
sorry.
TikTok, which is Disco Debbie 54. And what else? Oh, it's also on Kindle. My book is on Kindle, Amazon.com. And yes, I can teach you on my skates now. I sometimes teach on my feet. And remember, the best skaters, you're paying them for their brain, not their skates. And the best skaters don't make the best teachers. And I always say what I can teach in 1 hour, it takes most people 5. And Tim, You can speak
I
up
can
for me.
attest to that. I had my first lesson with you, and it was awesome.
How'd it go?
It was amazing. You saw I was
You were
from
skating.
the beginning to the end. It was a huge transformation.
And you went from the grass to the skating rink.
Right.
And he was gliding
In
with
one
pride
session.
in one session. That used to be the name of my old school, Glide with Pride. And the movie I'm going to be in is with Chris Vinyan. That's ChrisVinan. And it's called Bird's Eye Witness. Bird's Eye Witness. It will be finishing soon. And I believe it will be on Netflix and HBO. I'm not sure. You can DM me and I'll let you know. And after finishing this podcast, I have movie, TV, and film commercials coming to me effortless, easily, and safely now, where I am being of service to people and doing my fabulous creativity.
That's the perfect way to end it. Great
Right.
affirmation.
Thank you, my
Debbie.
love. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Mwah.
Big kisses and hugs with my new cushy coat.
And now we're going to go skate, right?
Yeah, let's go off. Skate great.